And I was going to ask because you
Well,
were
they're getting it. They're totally getting it now. Like I remember when I first came here, there were no Americans. There were none, and this is going back to like 2004 or something like that.
Mhm.
When I first came there was no Americans, and then the first Americans that showed up was like Paul Provenza and all of those guys, and they started open the door to the more Americans showing up here, which is also a good thing, man, because I'm their comedy is so like it's on the pulse of what's going on. You know what I mean? Whereas the English people talk about the individual, I think that the Americans talk about the situation.
Very
That's
good.
one of the
That's a
big
really
things.
good analogy. Yeah, yeah.
You know?
But I mean, do you think you did the same thing for Canadian comics coming to the UK?
Yeah, but Canada has a symbiotic relationship with the UK because like we're part like of the Commonwealth and all of that sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
we grew up on. I don't know about the Americans. I don't think they did. Like they'd have to watch PBS or something like that. But we grew up with the Monty Pythons. We grew up with the Black Adders and the Irish guy that told jokes in a chair and the two Ronnies. You know what I mean? So we had that. We're kind of like Australia in that way. That before, but we also had the American influence. So what was great about Canada is you can merge the two together. So when I got over here, it was the same as you. It took me a few gigs to figure it out. But once I figured it out, man, it was rip roaring easy. And it was so much fun, man. That's what I think.
That's a really good point.
Because the Americans don't have any other influences but America. So when they do go out, you know, like Patrice O'Neill would come out here. He was one of the first guys to show up in England, man. I remember seeing him, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he was, and it was funny because he was one of those guys that could adapt real easy. Whereas the comics now, you know, they don't, this is my purely blanket judgment, but you know, they try to write jokes instead of think. You know what I mean? They'll say, hey, I really need to write a joke about this coffee cup. Okay, what can we say about this coffee cup that's really funny? Whereas, you know, with the really good ones, they come over here, they assess the situation, they put their American spin on it, and they just don't ride with whatever they were saying back in New York or whatever, wherever the fuck they're from, Utah or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
I mean, that's just me being judgy and all that stuff and making me feel good about myself for some reason. But hey, put somebody down if you want to feel better about yourself.
Because I just thought of when you were mentioning that when we were in Bristol we were downstairs in the hotel lobby and you know we were doing some writing and you were mentioning about this is when you were writing the joke about how you need reservations at was it a jury's?
Oh, the Brewer's Fair.
The Brewer's Fair, yeah. The Brewer's Fair, like you need reservation. No, it's the Jury's Inn, the hotel where they asked you when you're checking into the hotel, would you like reservations for tonight? You know?
Yeah, like I didn't know this was the hot spot of.
This is like, wow. Is there a maitre d'? Do I have to tip him? You know, is there?
Yeah.
And we were going
Slip
through
me a fiver. Slip me a fiver. I want to sit next to the window so I can watch that homeless guy.
Or the homeless guy licking the window or something. It's just,
yeah, man.
Yeah,
it's our anniversary.
Only the best for you, baby.
Yeah, man. We wrote some good ones on that tour, man. Dude, that's on a CD now, man. But I love it because it's buried and gone now. We're always on to the next thing. That's the other thing that the UK teaches you, man, is that you got to write really fast, man. You can't sit around on your hour from last year. You got to be writing your hour while you're touring your hour.
Very true. Russell Peters, when he sold out the O2 Arena for the first time, he showed up there and it was just like he bombed. He didn't bomb that bad, but he didn't do as good as he had hoped. And it was enough for him to mention it the next time he sold out a big theater in the UK that he said, like, yo, you can laugh at this. But what he basically did was he went to the UK, went to the O2 Arena and just rehashed his whole old stuff that everybody had already seen. And people thought,
yeah, man.
Like, I'm not going to go find parking at the O2 Arena to go listen to something I can find on YouTube.
Yes, man. But that's the curse of being that big, man. He's got to keep up with like the Bill Burrs of the world. You know what I mean? He's got to keep up with the Louis C.K.'s as soon as he comes back.
He's been touring Europe, actually.
Yeah, why not, man? Who gives a fuck? I don't care. I'm not with the mob, man. I'm just not with the mob. I can separate his actions from his show. I'm not that kind of a guy, man. We got a real bad mob mentality going on out there, Helgi.
Yeah, but I don't
be part of it. It'll disappoint me.
No, I know. No, because what I don't understand is there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason for when a person needs to be canceled. Charlie Sheen last year got a Super Bowl commercial. You know, he locked a woman in a closet with a gun willingly. I don't know if he willingly, but he was giving people AIDS. He was, you know, treating women like shit. And, you know, a guy, he jacks off and then he's, you know, public enemy number Hitler. So
until he's actually convicted of something.
Yes,
that was my whole thing. Like Bill Cosby, I get it. They took him to court. He got charged. He's a criminal. But Louis he used his power to get some pussy. It's like, what boss doesn't? It's like that female boss. You don't think Madonna has banged a few dudes because she threatened to take a couple of awesome big dick dancers? She didn't go, if you don't fuck me, you're off the tour. But did anybody fucking do that to Madonna? And I will guarantee that happened, man. You know what I mean? Like, of course it did. If Taylor Swift saw a dancer she liked and said, you know, and that dancer tried to turn her down, do you think he'd be on the tour? No, of course he wouldn't.
No.
So it's like this virtual signaling that these people sit there and go, oh, well, he did that, which makes us better. But to me, he's still a great comedian. Yeah. And what he did wasn't good or anything like that.
It was sad. It was sad if anything. It was sad if anything.
It was sad if anything.
You know,
but it doesn't mean that he's canceled.
No.
You know what I mean? In fact, it's that suffering. It's the suffering he had going through that period of his life that will probably ultimately be one of the funniest shows he could possibly do, because there ain't no funny without suffering, man. You ever see the guys who get so rich that they've got no suffering? They become lame, and they get a Netflix special, and we're all like, "Oh, I can't wait! Oh God, this is so boring."
Well, it's like when
I saw Michael McIntyre's the other day, and I love Michael. I love him dearly.
Yeah,
but man,
I know where this is going. Like,
it was so hard because I owe everything to Michael for my career. Do you know what I mean? And I don't want to ever play it, but you know, when I walk off stage in a bad show, comedians don't go, "That was great, Tom." But because you get really big and famous, everybody tells you, "Oh, that was awesome." Like you know it's bad when they don't comment on the material and they just go, "Well, he was a real good showman."
Yeah, it was a great showman. Yeah, I think when or they're just saying that because they're hoping that, you know, they get to open for him on his next tour. But you know, that's a good thing.
Saying that Michael isn't going to come back and do a great show next one. Do you know what I mean? Like, everybody has that. I'm not saying that, but I mean, the problem is Michael's got no suffering.
Yeah,
he's got. What is he going to talk about? Fucking how his pool wasn't cleaned. You're really in touch. Like, the closest thing he had to relatability was getting up at night to piss in the toilet.
Yeah, I mean, when
I feel that.
When you have become less relatable to the common man than Tiger King, I think that is that's probably a sign. You know, people go Joe Exotic.
It's the curse of being.
Yeah,
it's the curse of getting rich and famous, man.
Well,
you know what I mean? It's the journey, not the destination.